Guys, today we're taking a look at what looks to become one of the most popular sneakers of 2024. Oh yeah, and it's probably going to be different to what you expected. We have the box. Jordan Brand is not playing around this time. They just went with the OG box. No, different speckling or anything like that. You got the Jumpman and the flight text, the black speckling around the gray bottom. But let's pop them open and see what these things are all about. Oh yeah, here we have today's sneaker, the Jordan 4 Military Blue. Nothing else notable in the box. The only extra thing I guess that you get is the Nike tag, which is just, yeah, a nice vibrant orange. Here we have him looking super clean, in my opinion. Now, I do immediately want to talk about some of the, strangeness that I found with this pair of sneakers, but I guess I do need to talk about the release details first. These were originally thought to drop on May the 25th. However, they randomly shock dropped through the Nike Sneakers app on April the 10th. It seemed like there was a decent amount of pairs as part of this shock drop. A lot of people said that they managed to get a pair, and after that shock drop, they loaded up to the Nike Sneakers app for a new release date of May the 4th and retailed at $215. They haven't loaded up in any other regions, so it is kind of worth mentioning that they may have that original release date of May the 25th. The rest of the world, like EU, UK, we're not entirely sure yet. And I guess it's also worth mentioning that there also could be another shock drop for the rest of the world. I'd imagine that would happen relatively soon, and if there's any more updates on that front, I will let you guys know. Okay, so if you guys caught my unboxing of this sneaker, you already know most of my initial impressions. And I guess the main thing was that the colors on here kind of caught me by surprise, and since then I was trying to figure out why, and I really do think that it is just because of all of the early images that we've seen online and how a lot of those pictures seem to be very different to the actual product. Some pictures make them look like they have a white leather upper and the suede is super clear gray on the toe box. They've also got super punchy blues, and I guess some of the retros of the Military Blue 4s have kind of been closer to that over the years, so that's kind of what I was expecting, getting these things in. But if you do get these things in hand, you'll realize that this colorway seems a lot more dull than you might have expected. First off, the leather upper that you see on these things is not super white, for example, like the Military Blacks. Not even really off-white, like the SB4s and what the description of these things are on the Nike Sneakers app. It's like a grayish color, and that grayish color makes the gray nubuck panel on the toe box blend into the color a lot more. And then, of course, you have all of the blue details that you find on here, which are definitely not as saturated and punchy like a lot of the images. It does seem a little bit toned down. I guess the hoodie, I don't know if you could tell on camera, but the hoodie I'm wearing kind of could give you a little bit of a representation of the blue. Now, I'm definitely not saying that all of that makes this a bad sneaker. Like some of you guys pointed out, it does make them a lot more of a neutral type color, so it's a lot more wearable. But yeah, it did just kind of surprise me, and if you've seen any of the early images and kind of were expecting that, well, just know it's a slightly more toned down, more neutral, a little bit more of a dull colorway. So as we know, the Military Blue 4 is one of the wholly original colorways of the Jordan 4 model, originally releasing back in 1989 and then having only two retros since then, the 2006 pair and then the 2012s. Now, over a decade later, we're finally going to be getting the third retro of this sneaker. This is definitely one of the most highly anticipated retros just because so many people have been waiting for a true retro of this pair of sneakers. Not to mention, both of the other retros that we had in 2006 and 2012 weren't really true retros like this one is. Both of those had the Jumpman branding on the back amongst some other details that doesn't necessarily line up with the original 1989 pair. However, this one, as you can see, it's got the Nike Air branding and is true to the original as much as Jordan Brand could possibly make them. Except for the name, of course. These are now apparently called the Industrial Blues, according to Jordan Brand. brand, which is really strange. I don't know why they changed the name on these things. They probably should have just called them military blues. But honestly, I don't think anybody is going to be calling them industrial blue. I think we're all sticking with the military name here. So yeah, essentially, everybody wants a pair of these things, and Jordan Brand knows that. And that's why they're going to be making a ton of pairs. It's rumored that there's going to be double the amount of pairs of the military blue 4s than we had of the Bread 4 Reimagined. And that pair was already considered a high stock release. So yeah, if all goes to plan, hopefully you'll be able to pick up a pair of these things from the Nike sneakers app or just essentially at retail price. If you do take an L, well, hopefully the resale price isn't too bad, because not only is this sneaker deeply rooted in Jordan 4 history, but it's also just a really nice colorway. I mean, I'm a sucker for blue on a pair of sneakers, and I just think that it molds so well with the rest of the colors that you get on here. The whites, the grays, it's just a really nice combination. Now, especially headed into the summertime, these are going to be a very strong pick for me personally in my sneaker rotation. Now, in terms of the quality and the materials, it's actually not bad. You know, sometimes with massive GRs like this, they definitely don't put the best leather and the best quality materials on it. These do feel solid. I mean, it's got a way better feeling leather than the military blacks from 2020, I believe. Like, just look at the toe box press. Like, you can see how much the military blacks wrinkle up compared to the military blue 4s, which I think are going to hold up a lot better over time. Like, these things, I haven't even worn them that much, and they already look pretty creased around the toe box and the sides of the shoes. So yeah, these don't age as well as I'm hoping these do. The gray nubuck that you find around the toe box on these does feel pretty nice. It's different to what you find on the military blacks or the SB4s for that matter. That's a lot rougher and is actually a suede. This is more of a soft nubuck, which not only looks nice, a little bit cleaner, but it also feels nicer in hand. Now, the tongue and the ankle padding seems to be just as thick as the SB4s. However, it's not as soft as the SB4s, so it's a little bit stiffer, which, I mean, hey, we couldn't expect the exact same details that we had on the SB4s on these things, but it's still nice to know that we have, you know, a decent amount of padding around the ankles. I think all things considered, you're not going to be disappointed with the quality and just the general feel of this pair of shoes, especially compared to other Jordan 4s or just other Jordans in general. It is definitely a pricey pair of shoes at $215, and yeah, if you did just pick up the Bread Reimagined 4s, then you might be a little bit more choosy when it comes to picking up this pair. Nevertheless, this is definitely a pair of shoes that I have to have in my collection and my rotation this year. It's been a long time coming, and honestly, if I had to pick between these and the Bread Reimagined 4s, even though I don't know why we're comparing those two, I would definitely take this pair. Like, this is just a nicer colorway in my opinion, and something that I would wear a lot more often. I think that you'll get a ton of wear out of these things, which, speaking of wearing them, sizing, let's talk about that. So pretty straightforward. They fit true to size just like any other Jordan 4, so I went true to size. That's what I normally do, and that's what I'm going to recommend to you. However, again, if you're someone who wears a lot of 4s, just stick with your regular size. But yeah, definitely a solid release for 2024. Super glad to have these things in. Let me know what you think of the military blue or the industrial blue Jordan 4s. And hey, if you do want to check out those Bread 4s, well, just click that video over there.